Okay, so this TBR is like very ambitious, and you guys know that I am not a TBR person, but I'm going to show you anyway what books that I want to read in fall, and then I'm going to recommend some books that I think you should read this fall. So hi friends, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. I want to start by going over my TBR just because we won't dive as deep as my recommendations, but my TBR. It's a little hectic. Like, this isn't even all of them. I had to limit myself because I was like, girl, like, be for real. Because you guys know I'm such a huge mood reader. Like, it's actually annoying, but it is what it is. So let's just get straight into it. I have so many fun ones that I'm so excited for, and there's definitely some in here that I like plan on reading super soon. So let's just talk about them. All right, so we can honestly talk about these four as a group because this is my remainder of my Harry Potter series that I am reading, and I just really want to finish them in the fall because I don't know, it just feels fallish, if you know what I mean by that. So I'm actually currently reading Goblet of Fire. I'm about 50% through, and I'm really loving it. Like, it's so crazy to me because my dad has always been like, please watch the movies, read the books, da 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 da, and I'm just like, no. And then after he told me again, and then like a few bookstagram people told me, I was like, okay, I will read the first book. If I don't like it, then I'm not doing it anymore. But I freaking loved it, so here we are. So the books that I have left in the Harry Potter series is obviously Goblet of Fire, like I'm currently reading. And then I have The Order of the Phoenix, which I just love this cover. It's so beautiful, so super excited for that one. And then we have The Half-Blood Prince and Deathly Hallows. So I'm super excited to get into all of these because the Harry Potter universe is just so fun and interactive, so I've really enjoyed it. Okay, and next is going to be Ready or Not, which I just got this book like a month or two ago, and I have been wanting to pick it up ever since. So I figured why not throw it on my fall TBR, especially because like it gives me fall vibes. You guys might be like, no, that's so spring, but that's like so fall to me. So yeah, and I'm super excited for it because the storyline sounds really fun, and I don't know, like I'm kind of getting like Out on a Limb vibes from it, and that book literally stole my freaking heart. So I'm really hoping this one's gonna be good as well. It's another surprise pregnancy trope, which I did not know until I was looking at it. I was like, oh, okay. But I've realized like I really actually like those. So I feel like this book is going to be very good, and I'm going to probably give it 5 stars. So I figured why not read it this fall? It looks fall, so it's gonna be fall. And next, if you guys have been here the whole time, or at least like a year now, if you saw my last fallish video, which was like building my fall book card or something like that, I put this book on there. I have yet to read it. I swear to God, I have yet to freaking read this book. Don't ask me why, because the anticipation is definitely there. But like I said, I'm such a mood reader, so like I just haven't been in the mood for it, I guess. I, of course, feel like reading it right now, but I have so many buddy reads planned, so can't do that. Like I said in the last video, this cover just gives fall to me. I don't know if it's the orange or the complement of all the colors together. I don't know what it is, but it tells me it's fall, so I'm like, okay, I'll put you on my fall TBR again. So we're going to put her on there again this year, and hopefully I'll actually read her. Okay, and drum roll please, because we are finally going to be starting Throne of Glass in October. So me, Noor, and Tiara are going to be buddy reading this series, and we've all just been kind of dragging our feet because it is a very lengthy series, and it's also another fantasy, you know, like going into ACOTAR, we absolutely adored it, but it's a lot to throw yourself into. And I feel like when I'm reading fantasy, it's so different from when I'm reading romance. Romance, I can go boom, 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 and then fantasy, I'm like reading it over and over again until it freaking sticks. So I don't know why I'm not like super excited about it. And I'm excited, but I'm not super excited. Do you know what I mean? I think I just took too long of a break, and when I pick this up, I'm gonna be like, oh my God, why did I wait so long? But we do have plans to start it in October, so wish us luck. I'm terrified because Sarah knows how to absolutely kill you. So we will see what happens with this. I expect greatness, but also tragedy. So I guess we will see. Okay, and honestly, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I literally only have this one on my TBR because I really want to read Once Upon a Broken Heart. And I've heard that you need to read this one before. And there's 3 books in this series. So I need to at least start it so I'm at least 1 book closer to Once Upon a Broken Heart. but I'm just also like not really feeling it. Yeah, I don't know, like this one interests me, but it's kind of like just a stepping stone to get to Once Upon a Broken Heart. So I don't know, it's gonna be on there. I might absolutely adore it, we will see. I know a lot of people do, but I feel like I just let it sit so long that it's kind of just like lost its thunder, but we'll bring it back, it's fine. Okay, and another book that's on my fall TBR is going to be Dragonfall. If you watched my book haul video for my birthday, this was given to me by my boyfriend and it just sounds so good to me. So I want to read it obviously like as soon as possible. So I put it on my fall TBR because fall also feels so fantasy to me. Like, I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but it really does feel, maybe it's October, like the spooky vibes and everything, kind of fantasy. I don't know, but I needed fantasy books in my fall TBR and I want to read this one so badly. So I figured why not just throw it on there. And down to the bottom two, we have Heartless Hunter, which I cannot even explain to you how excited I am for this one because no, I don't see it a lot, but when I do see it, people are screaming about it. So I'm super excited to get into this one. I feel like this is like a hidden gem. Yeah, I'm definitely going to read this one before the end of the year just because I'm so curious about it. And I swear I'm always eyeballing it on my shelf. So why not just go ahead and read it? I feel like it's going to be so good. Okay, and last but not least on my fall TBR is going to be The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I have heard crazy things about this book ever since I joined Bookstagram. It's been a while that I've heard about it and I always like the cover just because it seems so aesthetic. I don't know, I love it. So I'm super excited to get into this one, but I'm like kind of, I wouldn't say indifferent, but I'm kind of nervous, you know, like how I'm gonna feel about it. But yeah, this one's like another type of fantasy type book and I'm super excited to see what it's all about because I've heard so much about it. But yeah, that's gonna be the last of my TBR. Let's get on to some recs. Okay guys, as we spoke about earlier, Harry Potter. I absolutely love like this little world. I feel like this is a really good starter book for the series. It does great at the world building and meeting all the new characters, getting used to the atmosphere and all that. So, oops. I think you should definitely read this if you like fantasy or you just need some fallish vibes. If you're like me and you've been like debating Harry Potter forever but you can't really decide, just do it. Because it's like, everybody calls it nerdy and everything, but it's not. It's just freaking wizards and I think that's so cool. So I really enjoy this one and I don't really feel like I need to give you a brief on it. Everybody has heard Harry Potter. Everybody knows who he is. So I think that if you have not read them, you should definitely do so this fall and let me know how you feel about it. So keeping on the fantasy track, next I want to recommend A Court of Thorn and Roses by Sarah J Maas, just because this book has not left my mind in the last year and a half since I read it. A lot of people are indifferent towards the first book with the story building and how long it kind of takes to get into everything, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was super fun and I didn't really get bored. I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would, but this is such a good like bridge into what the series comes to be and what all happens. So I think that if you have not read ACOTAR, girl, literally please put it on your TBR because it's so good and it only gets better from book one. But this book is about Feyre and she is a 19-year-old huntress and she kills a wolf in the woods. A terrifying creature arrives to demand retribution. Dragged to a treacherous magical land she knows only about from legends, Feyre discovers that her captor is not truly a beast but one of the lethal and mortal fairies who once ruled her world. At least he's not a beast all the time. As she adapts to her new home, her feelings for the fairy Tamlin transform from icy hostility into fiery passion that burns through every lie she's been told about the beautiful, dangerous world of the Fae. But something is not right in the fairylands. An ancient, wicked shadow is growing and Feyre must find a way to stop it or doom Tamlin and his world forever. Like guys, it's so good. I can't even express to you how much I love this series and the characters within it. So if you have not read it, I would highly recommend it. Okay, and the last fantasy book that I'm going to recommend to you is going to be Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This book is literally everything. So the plot of this book is actually like so nice. I loved it so much. So I'm just going to tell you real quick what the plot is, what we're dealing with, and why you should read it. So when two rival journalists find love through a magical connection, their fate depends on their facing the depths of hell together. After centuries of sleep, the gods are warring again. All 18-year-old Iris Winnow wants to do is hold her family together. With a brother forced to fight on behalf of the gods, now missing from the front line, and a mother drowning her sorrows, Iris's best bet is winning the columnist promotion at the Oath Gazette. But when Iris's letters to her brother fall into the wrong hands, those of the handsome but cold Roman Kit, her rival at the paper, an unlikely magical connection forms. Expelled into the middle of a mystical war, typewriters in tow, can their bond withstand the fight for the fate of mankind and most importantly, love? An epic enemies to lovers fantasy novel filled with hope and heartbreak and the unparalleled power of love. Just reading that just made me like, I love it. The plot, it just keeps you pulled in the whole time, whether it be because you want to see how the war is going to go, you want to see what the next letter is going to say. It doesn't matter. Like, you're going to be curious about the next step every single part of this book because like, what's gonna happen, you know? So I love that they have this like secret little like cabinet that's like a passageway. It reminds me of Narnia, which might be so weird, but she puts these letters into the closet or wardrobe, whatever you want to call it. It's something fancier than that. So she puts the letter in the closet and then it goes off to Roman and he's just like mysteriously getting these papers and he's like, well, what the heck? And yeah, we just have to figure out like what happens when these two people that cannot stand each other at work are sharing this strong connection over letters that they don't know is coming from each other. And it's just so fun to watch, and I definitely recommend this one. It was a 5-star read for me. And if you're trying to get into like easier fantasy that's not as mind running, I don't know how you would, like, it doesn't make your mind work as hard. It's simple and it's straight up fantasy. This is definitely a good recommendation. I just had so much fun reading this and it was so easy to devour, so yeah. So moving on to a little bit of thriller, we have The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. And you've probably heard me talk about this book before because I really loved this thriller. It was so fun and I just loved, I don't know, it was like, this was the book that made me fall for Frida as an author, and she just writes thriller like no other. So in this book, we follow Millie, and she is a struggling adult that's kind of looking for a job. She recently got out of prison for reasons that you will find out in the book, and she's just struggling to get things afloat for herself and to provide for herself. So what she's going to do is she happens to stumble into this like crazy job offer that is like unbelievable. It's so good. So what she's going to do is she's going to be a housemaid for this very rich couple, and she's going to be live in. So she literally gets a room there, she'll eat there, literally everything. It's like she got herself a house. She went from living in her car to living in this huge house with all these nice amenities and these people that have so much money it's pouring out of their ears. So her life took a complete 180. And then it kept spinning because things started happening that were really weird and just like unexplainable. So Millie just starts getting a little freaked out. Like, what is going on in this house? Is Nina crazy? Like, what's up with these owners? And we just have to follow her journey. Like, things start getting really weird. There's a room the room that she stays in the house is in the attic, and it's got a lock on the opposite side of the door. Like, girl, when you walked the house at the interview, you should have dipped. I don't know why you were like, oh, I'll stay in there, it's fine. I would have been staying in my car. But anyway, it's just really fun to watch like what's going to happen in this book. And I just felt like complete whiplash reading it because the way Nina is so manipulative, and I don't even know. You have to read it, but I really enjoyed that thriller. I believe I gave it 5 stars. If not, I gave it like 4.5 or something of that nature, but it was so good and I highly recommend it. Okay, and the last thriller that I want to talk about is going to be, and I know this is a controversial author, I know a lot of people don't like her, but guys, we cannot sit here and say Verity is not like a really good book. I really freaking love this book. So Verity, this book, like, it starts off on a crazy note. So it's not a spoiler to read you the first line. So let me just read you the first line of this book and how it starts, okay? Just the first line, that's it. I hear the crack of his skull before the splattering of blood reaches me. Read it, read it. Like, it's so crazy, okay? So what happens is in this book, Verity, she's a very popular author, and she has came to a circumstance where she's not going to be able to finish writing her series. She is bedbound and just like really messed up after a car accident. She cannot like physically type this book, finish it and all that. So what happens is her husband and her, I don't know if it was a group decision, but her husband goes out looking for somebody to complete this series, you know, and just finish the writing, use her notes and just call it done, you know? So Jeremy is the husband of Verity, and he happens to find Lowen, and she is a writer, and she is open to the opportunity. So what happens is it's another kind of move-in situation. So she goes to their house and she's like living there a little bit, residing within Verity's old office and just going through all the notes of the story and trying to write this final book for her. But while she's in the office and going through all these notes and stuff, she happens to stumble upon a manuscript. So in this manuscript is like some god-awful stories and just like portraying it as if it's the truth. So she's sitting down here reading this thinking, oh my God, the woman upstairs is actually insane. And so we get to watch her spend the time there to write this final book. What happens between her and the people that already live there? What happens with Verity? Because I really, really enjoyed it. So I would recommend it to any and everybody if you like thriller. It's so good. Okay, and then with our last books, they're all going to be romances because you know your girl. So we're going to talk about The 7-Year Slip, which you've probably heard me talk about before. Okay, I know. But it just felt fall. Like when I was looking at my shelves trying to figure out what books I wanted to recommend to you guys, this one was screaming to me because it just looks fall, it feels fall, and I love it. So in this book, okay, I won't talk like lengthy about it because I know you guys have probably heard me talk about it before, so I'm just going to read you the synopsis real quick and give you the feelings. So, sometimes the worst day of your life happens and you have to figure out how to live after it. For Clementine West, that means burying her head in work and as a book publicist, being practical and forgetting the silly things her beloved aunt I can't remember how to say that name, taught her, like living wide and chasing the moon. Clementine would rather just stay grounded and keep her heart safe. For the last 6 months, she's done just that. But when she moves into her late aunt's apartment, she finds a strange man standing in the kitchen, a man with kind eyes, a southern drawl, and a taste for lemon pies. Her well-laid plans begin to fall apart because he's the type of man who, before it all, she would have fallen head over heels for, and she still might. Except he exists in the past, 7 years in the past to be exact, and she quite literally lives 7 years in the future. Her aunt always said that the apartment was a pinch in time, a place where moments blended like watercolors. She also said that love is never a matter of time, but a matter of timing, and Clementine fears she may be 7 years too late. Like, oh my God. Honestly, I never anticipated to be like a time traveling romance lover, but this book like absolutely just rocked my world and I absolutely loved it. So I'm kind of like way more open now to the idea of time traveling romances, but this one just like did it so perfectly in my opinion, and I love her so much. My girl signed it. Oh, this book is so amazing. I love it so much. So I really recommend this one for the fall season, especially if you're trying to like see if you do like time traveling romances, because I feel like this is a great one to kind of start dipping your toe in the water by. So yeah, I definitely recommend this one. It's a 5-star read for me and one of my favorite books. So another Ashley Poston book is going to be The Dead Romantics, and I don't even have to tell you guys why this is fall. It literally screams fall. This was also on my last fall TBR card, I think, but I didn't read it until January or February of this year. But I constantly think about it because I love it so, so much. But this book is about Florence Day, and she's a ghostwriter for one of the most prolific romance authors in the industry, and she has a problem. After a terrible breakup, she no longer believes in love. It's as good as dead. When her new editor, a too handsome mountain of a man, won't give her an extension on her book deadline, Florence prepares to kiss her career goodbye. But then she gets a phone call she never wanted to receive, and she must return home for the first time in a decade to help her family bury her beloved father. For 10 years, she's run from the town that never understood her, and even though she misses the sounds of warm southern night and her eccentric loving family in their funeral parlor, she can't bring herself to stay. Her father's gone, and yet everything else still feels the same, and she hates it. That is until she finds a ghost standing at the funeral's parlor's front door, just as broad and infuriatingly handsome as ever, and he's just as confused about why he's there as she is. Romance is most certainly dead, but so is her new editor, and his unfinished business will have her second-guessing everything she's ever known about love stories. So, in this book, we have a human times ghost romance, and it's just so, so crazy, and I just love the feels of it, and it gave like Halloween type feels because of the funeral parlor and the dead guy. I mean, it was so fall, and I absolutely loved it. I think I also gave this book 5 stars because it was just an absolute favorite. So yeah, I would recommend this one very, very highly as well. Okay, and last but not least by any means, because this is the most fall book out of this stack in my opinion, Emily just did so well bringing the fall vibes alive in this, and whoever her cover creator illustrator was, they just really nailed it with this one, and it just feels so fall. So I was like, we have to talk about this one. Plus it's a 5-star read and it's really good. So let me tell you what it's about real quick. So Olivia Hart has no idea what she's doing with her life. Hi. She's been waiting for all the pieces to fall into place, but she can't seem to get out of her own way. Stuck in her daily routine of working at the same grocery store since college, trying to write her next book, and her non-existent social life, she's became stagnant. Until Tristan West, the once love of her life, comes back to town and her world comes crashing down even further. He's always been determined to leave Pennsylvania and start a new life, but when his path continuously crosses with Olivia during their senior year, his plans start to change. Falling in love has never been so easy for either of them. From passing notes in class to writing letters while apart, their connection grows deeper. One day is all it takes for their connection to sever. 4 years later, their paths cross again and they both want answers. So this book like literally like changed me, because every time I see a sunset, I cannot help but to think of Liv and Tristan, just because like that's their thing, you know, and I love it so much. Obviously, I ate this book up. I have so many tabs. It's insane. It took me so long because I was so like nitpicky about when I did them. Like they had to be absolutely perfect. So I was using a stencil and like all the extra stuff, but it's just so good. And it's so fall. It's so beautiful. I love this book so much. The Road Less Traveled By actually just came out, which is book 2 of this series, and I really need to get it and devour it. I probably will this fall, so let's just add that to my TBR, because this book was just so good and it stuck with me so much. There's Liv and Tristan. I just love them so much. So I would definitely recommend this one for fall because it's amazing, it looks fall, and it's 5-star. So go for it, tell me what you think, because all these books are so good. So guys, that's going to be all of my recs and my TBR. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know, are some of these on your TBR? Have you already read some of them? I want to know everything. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this video, and make sure you drop a comment. I love you guys, and I will see you next time. What did I just say? That sounded weird. What is your name? Millie. Millie. Oh, somebody said if I could give Michaela 6 stars, I would. You were so sweet. Stop it. We love getting 5-star reviews. Whip, nay, watch me whip. So, Lo and Ashley is, stop playing with me. Infuriatingly. Until she finds a ghost standing at the parlor's front door, just as broad and infuriatingly. Why the f*** did I say this word?